Good morning and welcome to the SA360 2020 holiday livestream, presented, as you can see, from our home offices. Hopefully this session will give you the opportunity to get a lot of information, all relevant to this year's peak season. So as an introduction, I'm Serena, an SA360 specialist based in Dublin for the UK market. I'm also joined today by Eric and Diana. Over to you both to introduce yourselves.
Thanks, Serena. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric, and I'm based in Dublin as well, working in the same team as both Serena and Diana.
Thanks, Serena. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana. I'm based in Dublin, and I work in the same team as Serena and Eric.
Amazing. Thank you both. And as you can see, we've got a jam-packed agenda for you today. I'll start with an introduction around holiday preparation and take you through bid optimization for this year's peak. We'll then jump to Eric, who will take you through budget management and reporting, and then to Diana, who will run you through campaign management and DDA. And last but not least, we'll end with me sharing the holiday timeline preparations and going through a case study from last year. There'll also be a Q&A session at the end where we're going to answer your pre-submitted questions. Any live questions that you have, though, will be answered via the YouTube chat. So we'll address those directly there, and please feel free to add questions on there as we present. Amazing. So without further ado, let's jump into preparation for this year's holiday season. As is expected, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding this year's peak. It's safe to say it'll be unlike any other before, and online will definitely be taking center stage. Businesses have already been rethinking their business models and have adapted to the accelerating trends. For instance, the increase of contactless pickup. Just one example of how some businesses have shifted this year against the pandemic backdrop. But it certainly isn't all doom and gloom. There are a few bright spots. One being that e-commerce is still expected to continue to increase this year. While we can't predict the future, we can help advertisers use Google data and technology to adapt to what this 2020 holiday season may bring. And rest assured, we hope to have everyone feeling more comfortable with this year's holiday season post this live stream. It's no surprise that in the lead up to, during, and following sale events, consumers typically break with traditional online behavior. And so in a one-liner, brands that are positioned to win this holiday are meeting the consumer digitally, flexing with demand, retaining new customers, and rethinking their brand media. Being dynamic and fluid this holiday season is key to making sure advertisers are best set up for success this year. Being aware of all the tools SA360 has to offer, and also leveraging automation is the best way to suit your business, and it's more imperative than ever before. So if you only take one thing away from today's session, it's this. Our recommendation this year is to keep automation on throughout the holiday season. This is to ensure you're maximizing performance and capturing as much opportunity as possible in line with your business goals. Last year, we saw great results with advertisers that kept automation on during peak. So ensure that you're set up for success by keeping automation on. It really is the best solution for thriving in dynamic markets. In this session, we'll go through best practices and how to best leverage automation. A final point to mention here briefly, which Diana will touch on later, is to optimize with DDA so that you're driving consumers through the funnel and optimizing to all touch points. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, but I wanted to include it to show you that there are a lot of different solutions housed within SA360. And you can use this compatibility matrix to help you decide which approach is best to help you achieve your specific goal this season. Now that we've set the context of this year's peak season, I'm going to take you through bid optimization. There are features within SA360 that help you achieve your optimal performance during sale periods. 3 being auction time bidding, seasonality adjustments, and ad group targets. Auction time bidding is the best bidding solution we offer, with bids being adjusted at every auction as opposed to just a few times a day. It's the only solution we have that responds quickly to sudden changes in performance, whilst also taking the wider search environment into account. Seasonality adjustments. It's in the name. They allow you to make adjustments for seasonal periods. So here you have the ability to inform the algorithm of an upcoming sales period by inputting the expected conversion rate change, and this will be taken into account as part of the overall bidding. The third tool that I'd like to introduce, as it's new this year, is ad group targets. Here you can use ad group targets to drive a particular ad group and value it differently to others, meaning that the system will increase or decrease bids based on the ad group target that has been set within that bid strategy. Making target changes during a seasonality adjustment is a topic we get a lot of questions about. And to be honest, it applies across all target changes. I know there's a fair amount of words on this slide, so I'd like to just highlight the recommendation for both intraday, so legacy bidding, and auction time bidding. For intraday, we recommend manually overriding your max CPCs for individual keywords or product groups. It's worth noting that these manual overrides will hold for 24 hours. For auction time bidding, we recommend adjusting your CPA or ROAS target, where bids will adjust proportionally to the percentage change in target. For most advertisers, this change will come into effect within 1 hour. Auction time bidding, as mentioned before, is the best solution. Intraday is good, but as you can see, it's just not as reactive. It's worth noting quickly that with auction time bidding, there is no option for manual overrides. You have the option of ad group overrides as mentioned on the previous slide, or you can adjust the target as I've just gone through here. During the seasonal period, we really recommend that you do not turn off auction time bidding at any point, as this will have a negative effect on your performance, with bids returning to pre-auction time bidding levels, and intraday will most likely enter calibration. There are alternative solutions, as you can see on this slide, for both intraday and auction time bidding, so feel free to have these to hand should you need them. Here are some more top tips when it comes to using seasonality adjustments. When entering your expected conversion rate increase, we recommend using data. For a bid strategy that was used last year, you can use the overview page for historical data. However, if it's a new bid strategy, you can use conversion reports that you can pull from click date from last click conversions. Also, be conservative with your adjustments. It should be the highest seasonality adjustment that you would consider. And a quick point on budget here too. If you do have budget caps, ensure that they are 20 to 30% higher than expected, so that you're able to capture the increase in demand. Be sure to set your seasonality adjustments well in advance of your expected peak, at least 6 hours prior to the event start time. And note that you can set more than one seasonality adjustment during the holiday period. Last but not least, it's not always imperative for you to use seasonality adjustments. As some directional guidance, if your promotional period is less than 7 days and your conversion rate change is more than 30%, use seasonality adjustments. If the promotional period is more than 7 days or the conversion rate change is less than 30%, there is no need for you to use a seasonality adjustment. So hopefully the difference between those two is pretty clear. So now let's go through a scenario. Fatima is a senior marketing director of a sporting goods company, a retailer. Fatima is planning for the 2020 holiday period. Using click-aligned data from previous peak periods, she was able to anticipate that there would be an expected 70% increase in conversion rate over the course of the weekend. Fatima utilizes seasonality adjustments for Black Friday weekend, so she can inform the auction time bid strategy that there will be an expected conversion rate change. Fatima is also aware that this year's holiday may be different than previous years, and her measurement wasn't perfect, so she took it upon herself to be more conservative in her predictions and input a 30% adjustment. As Fatima analyzes her performance on Black Friday, she notices that her 30% seasonality adjustment was still too aggressive, and her CPCs are too high in respect to her expectations. She needs to take action and drop CPCs to a level that are in line with her business goals. For auction time bidding, it is the best practice to adjust the portfolio target in order to adjust bids by increasing the target ROAS of the bid strategy by 20%. Fatima was able, by adopting that, to drop CPCs and quickly pull back spend to a level that fits in with her needs. So what you can see here. So during the holiday, Fatima has a number of different promotions running across her accounts. Performance has been strong and she attains incremental funds for snowblowers. Snowblower products are live as an ad group within the winter outdoor gear campaign. This campaign is part of a larger portfolio bid strategy targeting a 400% ROAS. Using ad group targets, Fatima can decrease the target to 200% ROAS, the snowblowers ad group. This ad group target acts as an additional bidding signal and gives Fatima the flexibility to prioritize the products that are most valuable to her business. It's worth noting that this does not mean that ad group snowblowers is now optimizing independently from the portfolio to the 200% target. Instead, this is a signal within the portfolio that the conversions in ad group snowblowers are worth 2 times the rest of the conversions in the portfolio. This is similar to imagining a formula column where the conversions on this ad group are multiplied by 2 and added to the rest of the conversions in the portfolio. This is a perfect example of how you can use the target as a lever to control volume. And now over to Diana to take you through DDA optimization.
Thank you, Serena. So data-driven attribution, we recommend this highly enough for better optimization. But let's take a deeper dive on data-driven attribution and what we mean by this. So data-driven attribution allows you to assign a specific credit to all touch points within that contributed to a conversion. If we look at example here, if you only bid on a last click attribution model, you're essentially only valuing the last click, the last keyword, and the last device used before the purchase. While we know customer journeys are far more complex than that, with a data-driven attribution model, you can assign credit to each interaction. But it's not only about assigning the credit to each interaction, it's also about understanding your consumer behavior and the path before purchasing. Other good things about data-driven attribution is that you can better evaluate your upper and lower funnel keywords. You can also bring more value to your cross-device interaction. And lastly, this allows you to have more signals for your bid automation. So prior peak, we highly recommend using data-driven attribution so you can make the most out of your performance. And with this, I'd like to pass on to Eric, who is going to take you through budget management and budget bid strategies in SA360.
Thank you, Diana. So when planning for any peak or holiday season, budgets are always going to play a central role. We know that most advertisers and businesses today face the big challenge of balancing performance with restricted budgets. While some people might have looser budget constraints, others know exactly how much they're allowed to spend. And this is obviously more important now as we move into holiday season and peak. So similarly, what some might only focus on ROI targets, such as ROAS and CPA, not spending as much time worrying about budget. In SA360, regardless, we have an entire budget management suite built and designed around making this process easy to manage at scale. I'll go through some of the important steps in using the budget management tool for peak, and also show you how we can leverage automation to help make the bidding process smarter. So first of all, you want to make sure that you have your campaigns organized into budget groups, reflecting the way your business works. As an advertiser, it's not uncommon to have thousands of different product categories or SKUs, so it's key to set the budget groups up in accordance with your business structure. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and create the corresponding budget plans. These will be assigned to the budget groups and should obviously span throughout the holiday period as well. A neat feature with the budget plans is that you can use something called custom allocations. These allow you to manually enter spend amounts for specific days or weeks. And I'll show you how this looks in the UI in a minute. So now once you have all of the groups and the plans in place, the setup is essentially complete and you're ready to start using the spend pacing report in SA360. These are really useful in order to be able to track performance and see how you're pacing versus your targets. You'll be able to see at a high level how your budget groups and plans are doing and whether spending is on track or not. Then you can drill into the data to view spend in each budget groups and within plans as well. So in this next section, I'll show you how we can add on a layer of automation on top of this to save time as well as be more efficient with our bidding. So now that we've gone through all of those steps in the previous slide, you're faced with the option to enable budget bid strategies. So knowing exactly how much budget to spend within a certain time period or category for that matter can be difficult, not least when it comes to forecasting or trying to estimate future spend. Budget bid strategies are designed to help solve for this challenge through automating this process. This is done by allocating budget across campaigns as well as engines efficiently. And another great benefit with these budget bid strategies is the fact that we can automate our bids, bid modifiers, and budget caps to make sure they're aligned and working towards a common pacing or spend goal. This is obviously important as we want to make sure that we're not over or underspending. Lastly, We also want to be agile and quick to respond to any market behavior or changes in supply and demand. So a couple of additional tips here revolve around, first of all, enabling auction time bidding. We do that to capitalize on a vast set of real-time signals to make the bidding decisions even faster and smarter. And secondly, using our CPA or ROAS targets in order to gain potential additional traffic and reach your holiday goals. Now we'll take a quick look at the custom allocations that I mentioned previously. So we recommend keeping budget bid strategies enabled throughout the peak period. However, I also want to remind you of this specific feature. So once you have ticked the box enabling budget bid strategies, you'll be able to select either a fixed or a flexible total budget. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and choose between 3 different allocation settings. So you can either get recommendations based on historical performance within the account, you can maintain certain proportions between budget groups, or enter custom allocations, which we're looking at here. So these are there to help you manually alter the spending schedule and sort of encourage specific spend amounts during either certain days or weeks. As a final reminder, be a bit wary when putting in large changes day on day, as the system might need some time to adjust. We usually say that as a general rule of thumb, budget increases of about 5x day on day might require a small warm-up period. Now I'll hand back over to Diana, who will guide us through campaign management.
Thank you, Eddie. So now I'm going to take you through some of the most exciting features in SA360 to help you manage your campaigns more effectively. So without further ado, let's talk about Ad Builder. So we know that great ad copy attracts more users, but we also know that it's very difficult to tailor ad copy to each individual ad group and also test. So we know it's hard and we know it's time consuming. Ad Builder simplifies this process for you and allows you to create ad copies automatically. So let's look at the 3 key benefits of having Ad Builder. So first, simplicity. So as I mentioned that you can create ad copies automatically with Ad Builder, but it's not only about this. You can manage all your ad copies in one single screen across multiple search engines. Aside from this, because Ad Builder chooses the best ad combination and it evolves from there, it removes the need for A/B testing. Second is flexibility. So you can use other SA360 features like business data to supercharge your ad copy creation, adding new attributes into your ad copy. What this means that you make your ad copy even more relevant to your users in displaying the right message at the right time. And lastly, control. So although Ad Builder is an automatic feature that builds the ads automatically, you can still have control over the messages that Ad Builder displays. So you can download, preview, edit, save, and even publish again the template with the ad copies. You can also, there's a very cool functionality in Ad Builder where you can also ping specific messages that you always want to display in your ads. So let's take you to a bit of a scenario with a hypothetical customer. So let's meet Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a paid search associate at a large agency. She's managing this large retailer, and she's just been told by her client that they want to run a Labor Day offer tomorrow. This client has 10 different accounts across different search engines, and they also have thousands and thousands of product categories. So Elizabeth knows that she has no time to set up business data and use this. So let's look at how Elizabeth is going to use Ad Builder to create the templates and create the ad copies ready for the next day. So first, Elizabeth creates an Ad Builder template and adds a few combinations. In order to add the actual product name, she uses a combination of formula and the ad group naming convention so that she can add the product name into the ad copy. The next step, she's going to select what ad groups she wants to apply Ad Builder to. And she makes sure that these ad groups belong to the search engine that she has selected. As a next step, she uploads the template, she previews it, she's very happy with the ads, and they go and launch it. The next step, she does the same process with Microsoft advertising accounts. As you can see, in a traditional world, Elizabeth would have taken hours to create not only the ad copies tailored for each individual ad group, but she would have taken a lot of time uploading these ad copies into the different search engines and across multiple accounts. With Ad Builder, and this is the beauty of Ad Builder, in just a few easy steps and in a few minutes, you can set up different templates and upload these automatically across the different engines, all in the same screen, which is SA360. And with this, let's move on to our other fantastic features in SA360 for your campaign management. So let's talk about inventory management. Inventory management works either with your merchant feed, or you can create a custom feed to use in inventory management. And what inventory management allows you to do is to create campaigns, ad groups, ads, keywords, and even Google Ads site links automatically. So this removes the need for having to build out structures, account structures, and also it almost gives you a safeguard that any new important keywords will be automatically added. Another key feature is business data. So I mentioned earlier that business data can be used to superpower your ad copy creation and add new attributes. But business data can also be used for reporting, to enhance your current reporting. And it can also be used alongside automating rules for bid optimization. So for example, if you have products that have a shorter delivery date and you want to push these products over those that have a longer delivery date, you can create automated rules and push these products using business data. And moving on, other very interesting features and very useful features, especially for the holiday season, that you can take advantage in SA360 are around reporting. So formula columns is quite a nice one, because with formula columns, you can, for example, if you know the specific margin of your products, you can create columns to see the margin of your products and have the profit data just added onto your the existing way in which you do your reporting. Also, you can create columns to see the pacing and the trend, and basically see how the fluctuations that are happening within the holiday season and take action. Another cool feature in SA360 is automated rules. So I mentioned this earlier about using automated rules with business data, but you can also use automated rules on its own. So for example, if you want to increase the daily budget for a specific campaign when it hits certain threshold, you can create rules to do that without having you to manually make the changes. And lastly, save reporting views. This is a pretty cool feature. I love it. I actually use it every day. You can customize your own reporting. So for example, let's say that you create specific campaigns for Christmas. You can create a specific view in SA360 only to view the performance metrics for the Christmas campaigns. And you can do this also with your standard campaigns. It doesn't have to be necessarily only for the holiday season, but for the upcoming holiday season and Black Friday, we do recommend that you set up save views so that you can monitor on your performance. And with this, I'd like to pass on again to Eric, who is going to take you through the many reporting capabilities of SA360 and the benefits of using Data Studio.
Brilliant. Thanks, Diana. So now that we've had a look at some of the additional features to leverage during peak, I thought I would show you a couple of examples on how to properly report on performance. More specifically, I'll kick off with an important distinction between common formula columns that we can see in the UI. So in order for us to fully understand how we're performing, to get the complete picture, we need to distinguish between bid strategy conversions received, so all the way to the left, and bid strategy conversions due, which is the middle bubble. So these are two formula columns in SA360 that measure different things. I think it's easiest to understand this by taking an example of an average customer. So imagine if I click on an ad today, I take 1 day to consider my purchase, and then I convert it tomorrow. This leaves us with a so-called conversion delay of 1 day. And why is this important? Well, 1 day is fairly short in terms of conversion delay on average, so we're likely to have all of the necessary information in the system tomorrow or the day after. But if we instead say that I took 2 weeks to consider my purchase before I converted, this leaves us with a 2-week-long conversion delay. And now everything sort of becomes more clear. 1 week goes by, and at that point, we're likely to see some conversions in the UI. However, we are also going to have some conversions that haven't taken place yet. So we're going to have some clients that have clicked, but they haven't converted yet. These are the so-called conversions due, represented again by the middle bubble here. These are forecasted conversions that are due to come in by the end of the conversion delay. So again, if you take the example of 2 weeks, by the end of those 2 weeks, we're likely to have all those conversions in, and we will have the big bubble to the right. So to get the complete picture, we put these two together to understand how much revenue or conversions we're likely to end up with. This next slide actually shows how that looks in the UI as well. So here we have 3 examples of metrics. We have bid strategy revenue, we have bid strategy ROAS, as well as bid strategy percentage of optimal cost. So based on the example I just gave, we see that there's quite the difference between the bid strategy revenue in blue and the bid strategy revenue total, which is both the blue and the green, all the way to the right. So this is simply due to the conversion delay, leaving us with conversions and revenue due to come in. We see this again clearly when looking at these examples, where the blue text again represents the conversions that have come in, or the ROAS that has come in, and the green ones are the estimates, and we add those together to get the total. And that obviously gives us a better indication and a higher number to compare versus our targets. So I'll end this with a strong recommendation. Make sure to be aware of your conversion delay, your average conversion delay in the account, and don't forget to look at the bid strategy total columns. That's crucial and key to be able to report properly. And that goes for revenue, ROAS, as well as, in this case, the last one, percentage of optimal cost. Great, so now that we've covered the bits in the UI, let's briefly also touch upon Data Studio and what we can do with that. So most of you have probably either heard of or already explored Data Studio to some degree. There are many benefits of using this tool to report on performance. Not only will you be able to bring in floodlight data directly from the free SA360 connector, but you can also use the GMP or cloud connectors to get Data Studio to be like a single reporting tool for all of your channels within your business. So extremely useful and widespread. Once you're connected to the data sources, you'll be able to create and tell impactful visual stories with that data within one view or within that same report. These reports, once created, you can easily share them across orgs or teams or individuals, and keep in mind that you can also control who sees what data by setting the data source to have either viewer or owner credentials. And then finally, as a final reminder, this year you'll be able to leverage our SA360 holiday templates to gather performance insights, latest trends, and act on any sort of available opportunities. So I encourage you to reach out to your SA360 lead for this report, and they should be able to send it to you. And that's it for me on reporting. Over to Serena to summarize today's talking points.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Eric and Diana. So if you're anything like me, I love a good timeline. So what we've done is we've created a holiday preparation timeline to help you get prepared for this holiday season. And drum roll, please. And here it is. So this is our recommended timeline for what you should be doing and by when you should be doing it by. I won't go through this all in any detail now, but it's a great resource for you to bookmark, to print out, to save, just to ensure you're working to the appropriate timelines and are on track for success. The key is to give yourself plenty of time to avoid any sort of last-minute panics. To end this section, I'd like to showcase 2 case studies. One to illustrate the power that automation can have in helping you achieve your business KPIs at one of the most crucial times of the year. And for that, I'll be taking you through the success HP had over Cyber Week last year, and another case study showing the effectiveness of seasonality adjustments. So starting with HP. So for anyone who isn't already aware, HP is an information technology company that develops and provides a wide variety of hardware components. Last year, they drove strong results via SA360 automation. They previously had used a manual last-click approach and wanted to test the machines across a key sales period. They leveraged both auction time bidding on a ROAS bid strategy and DDA, and they combined this with seasonality adjustments for their Cyber Week sale. The results, as you can see, speak for themselves. Compared to the previous year, they saw 140% more orders, revenue was up 135%, and traffic was also up 165%. Now for another case study, this time a real-life example of the effectiveness of seasonality adjustments by Boost Mobile. So here they tested seasonality adjustments and found that not only did the bid strategy bring down the overall CPA by 33%, It also drove 1.5 times more volume, but it also, and for some importantly, ensured a smooth CPC post the sale period. So I know these are just two quick presentations of case studies, but hopefully these two case studies clearly show the effectiveness of some of the features we've touched on previously and how they can be combined to achieve optimal performance. Who knows, it might be your case study that we're showcasing next year. So now for some Q&A. A big thank you to everyone for all the questions you've submitted. Sorry, as always, that we can't answer all of them, but we've tried to pick the most popular and group together similar themes. So without further ado, question 1. So question 1 reads, we are currently using fixed bid and automated bidding. However, the automated bidding has not performed well. What changes can we make to improve the automated bidding? Great question, and one that pops up, I'm sure, across many regions frequently. So annoyingly, without looking at the account setup in detail, it's hard for me to properly advise specifics. Definitely reach out to your SA360 account manager for any specifics. But from a top-line view, I can recommend making sure that you're using the right type of strategy that suits your business goal. For example, if you have a branding KPI, that would lend itself really nicely to an impression share bid strategy, as opposed to a ROAS or a CPA one. Make sure that you're meeting the minimum conversion volume requirements for your chosen strategy. Again, reach out to your SA360 account manager for the specifics here too. Make sure you have enough conversion history data. Make sure the target you've set is in line with the last 30 days, plus or minus 10%, and that you aren't manually intervening heavily, if at all, to a point that it's affecting overall performance. So if you are there manually intervening daily, frequently, that is going to have an effect on your overall performance. If you can, best practice is just to leave it and let automation work as intended. Hopefully that helps with some top-line things to check to help improve performance. And thank you again to whoever submitted the question. Now on to question 2. Actually, sorry, just before that, I just wanted to highlight a key point. So if you have auction time bidding enabled for strategies that contain both Google and non-Google engines, obviously only the Google portion of the activity is going to be under auction time bidding. But that's not to say that you shouldn't still be combining all your engines in one bid strategy. So I guess the guideline here that I'm trying to portray is that combine all your engines under one strategy, even if you're leveraging ATB for your Google portion of the activity. The remaining non-Google engines will just be on intraday. Now on to question 2. So a question that we've got quite frequently is what has changed this year versus last year? And in one word, a lot. The biggest change that ATB is now fully launched for shopping. So this is a recent update, but it now means that all revenue bid strategies is compatible or are compatible with text and shopping. This means that both your shopping and text activity can benefit from what ATB brings to your performance. Another change that I mentioned earlier is around having the functionality of ad group target changes. This will allow you to value certain ad groups within a bid strategy more. And finally, the use of seasonality adjustments and how they work with both shopping and text. All these changes set you up for success this year and are additional cherries on the top versus last year. A final question from me before I pass over to Eric for some more. So here the question reads, what can I do in the moment, on the days itself? So this is a great question, and there's always a big theme when it comes to peak periods around pivoting in the moment. So what I do want to start by saying is that we will be sharing our SA360 2020 peak playbook, which will have all the levers for in the moment pivots. But the key one for ATB, as mentioned, will be adjusting the target to boost volume or spend as needed. For intraday, you'll be able to manually override CPCs, and as mentioned, they'll last for 24 hours. Now over to you, Eric.
Thanks, Rina. So the first question to me is, does automated bidding apply bid multipliers according to historical performance, optimizing as much as possible, negating the need to set line items to fix bids? That's also a great question, and the answer is yes. So automated bidding, either through budget bid strategies or performance bid strategies with CPA or ROAS targets, they will use smart bidding signals and historical performance to automatically set bids, change budget caps, or add on any bid modifiers. Then we have obviously another layer to this, which is auction time bidding, where the bidding takes place in real time and at the query level instead of sort of individual keywords. Again, removing the need for any manual bid intervention. So to answer your question, yes, that's correct. I think we had one more there, Serena, as well. Yes, so can you use seasonality events with budget bid strategies? This is a really, really good question. So you actually can't, because in the case of budget bid strategies, I encourage you to use the custom allocations that I mentioned in the past, where you have the option to sort of manually hold back or push more spend. The reasoning behind this is because budget bid strategies are designed to sort of target spend first. So hitting that spend with either max conversions or revenue set as a secondary target, rather than hitting a specific conversion rate. So any sort of conversion rate change that you might put in the system is not going to be as relevant as it would with a ROAS or a CPA bid strategy, for example. And then I think we had one more, sorry. Perfect. Another one on seasonality events. Do these work with auction time bidding? Yes, so they're fully compatible with auction time bidding and will work on top of the smart bidder, taking into account, again, the predicted conversion rate increase that you're likely to put in or decrease that you've entered into the system. So keep in mind all the recommendations that Serena talked about earlier when it comes to the levels of these conversion rates. So up to a certain level, the algorithm or the bidder actually can account for that itself. So you don't actually have to manually enter and put in the seasonality events. But again, to go back to the question, yes, they work with auction time bidding. And those were my questions. I think, Diana, you had a few as well.
Yes. Perfect. So would it be a good idea to assign a separate channel grouping for campaigns used only during peak, for example, Christmas-specific keywords? So an example channel breakdown might look like brand, shopping, generic search, peak generic search, social, or would this cause any issues? So to answer your question, by the way, it's very, very good question. To answer your question, first, I would recommend you to work with your SA360 specialist to successfully set up your DDA models in SA360. I guess the beauty of a SA360 DDA model is that you can create different channel groupings. So setting up channel groupings for your brand, your shopping, your generic search, and your peak is still viable. And if this is going to affect your campaigns, it shouldn't, because you will have a separate channel grouping created for the Christmas peak. So it should not affect the rest of your performance. And as I said, it's the beauty of having a SA360 powering DDA models. It does support at least up to 5 DDA models, and that's what we recommend, up to 5 DDA models. So next question, I think there's another one. Can I use more than one template with Ad Builder? Yes, you can. You can create different templates in Ad Builder. For example, let's say that you have an offer in a specific ad groups. You can create a template only to be included within those ad groups, and then a completely separate template to update your business as usual ad copies. I think we have another question, Serena. Let me see. What's the best way to use business data? So there's no right or wrong way of using business data. You need to kind of check what is your requirement, what do you need to solve for by using business data. For example, if you have a need to report on certain items that are not included, perhaps within your standard reporting, you can use business data to leverage those attributes into SA360. Or as I gave example earlier, for example, if you want to input delivery times in your SA360 so that you can optimize your campaigns using business data, you can do that. So as I say, it's not right or wrong. It's we can work with your SA360 specialist to find the optimal way of using business data for your business. And I don't know if we have another question. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't.
That is it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Diana and Eric, and thank you so much for all the questions. But that brings us to the end of the SA360 2020 holiday session. Please submit your feedback via the feedback form on the chat. And all that is left to say is a big thank you to everyone, and a special thank you to Eric and Diana for helping me present all the content. We hope you found the content presented useful and feel more comfortable with knowing what you need to do to ensure success this year. Happy peak!